Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a great day already today, and I hope that yesterday, Easter Sunday, was a great day for you. It sure was for the Williams family. And so I know that many of you have joined us over the past couple of weeks where we've walked through Psalm 27, just one verse at a time. And that's been important to be able to do during this time. And many of you have expressed an interest in continuing that. And so we're going to do it, but we're going to do it a bit different. We're going to walk through one of my favorite Gospels, the Gospel of Mark, and I'll tell you why that's one of my favorites in just a few moments. But what we're going to do is each day I will send you an email, and on the email it's going to have several verses. It probably not going to take you more than 3 to 5 minutes to read through it. But as you read through it, I want to see, what is the Lord saying to you? What questions may you have as you read this portion? And most important, what is it that gets your attention? How is it that the Holy Spirit may be using this to speak to you? Because I believe He speaks to you just like He speaks to me or any of the other pastors on our staff. And so what we're going to have after you read your portion, then there's going to be a short video where one of the pastors, myself or one of the other pastors, will just do the same thing. This is what we got out of it. This is something that we noticed, or this is something that really grabbed our attention from that particular passage for the day. And so we're going to do that all the way through. It's going to take us a while to get through it. It's going to be the first part of June, actually, before we get through. But I hope that you'll join us every day. If you have friends that aren't part of our church that you would like to receive this every day, feel free to give us their email address, and we'll make sure to get them on board with it. So let me tell you just a little bit about the Gospel of Mark before we actually jump into it tomorrow. The Gospel of Mark was probably the first gospel that was written. Mark was a nephew of a guy by the name of Barnabas, and Barnabas and John Mark had gone on a missionary journey with Paul. You may have read about this. Something happened with John Mark, and at one time he was not, there's such a big disruption between John Mark and Paul that Paul split ways with him. And at first it was like, oh, this is not good. But toward the end, they did get back together, and Paul called John Mark a great servant. And so John Mark, who was not a disciple, was not around during the times of Jesus, probably got most of his information from Peter, who would have told him the stories, and John Mark would have written all these things down. And then about the year 55 AD, after the death of Christ, John Mark would have started putting these things together, and it probably would have first been published somewhere around 65 AD. Again, it wasn't huge publishing, and it certainly wasn't any internet or anything to go out on, but just people started having a copy of the life of Jesus. And so it was the first gospel. It's one of 3 gospels that are known as the synoptic gospels. Synoptic means seen together. Matthew, Mark, and Luke are synoptic gospels, but Mark is probably the first one, and Matthew and Luke would have used those. So when you read through those 3 gospels, you see a lot of similarities. What I love about the Gospel of Mark is this very, very fast-paced. It just shows that Jesus was always on the move. Jesus was always doing something. And I want you to know that today, Jesus is still on the move. The Holy Spirit is doing some stuff. And as we read through His Word, the Word is not the only way that God speaks to us, but I think it is the primary way that He speaks to us. And so as He's speaking to us, I just believe that God's going to move in your heart, and He's going to move in us as we're reading this together. So I'm really excited about this time. So tomorrow it starts. So get on board, clear some time out, probably 15, 20 minutes, that you can do this devotion with us every day. And I'm really, really excited about the ways that God is going to speak to us. Again, if you have a friend that you want to get this, get me their email address, and we'll get them on the list so that they can walk through the Gospel of Mark together with us. God bless you, and we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow.